Here's my fuel trim going down the road about 55 miles an hour after I fixed the leak in the pipe vacuum line going to the, looked like the cruise control or the acceleration mechanism on the W163 2005 ML500. So it looks like I'm about 5% now with a long-term fuel trim, which from what people have said that have watched on YouTube, they said that's not even anything to worry about. So I'm wondering if my MAF sensor is a bit dirty, or maybe there's a very slight vacuum leak somewhere. But from what I've read and listened to people talking on YouTube, I won't get a CEL, a check engine light, or a mill light unless I'm way above on my long-term fuel, like minus 25 or plus 25 or something. So I'm most likely within spec now and can drive without events. So fairly happy about this. The vehicle now has closing in on 160k miles. I bought this thing, it had about 152.9 on it. So I've put roughly 7,000 miles on this vehicle. You can see the ABS light is still on. I don't have a scanner which will read ABS codes. I reordered an iCarSoft scanner, what is it called? 901 or 801 or something like that. See if I can read the mill again, or read the codes for the ABS, turn it off. Everything else is pretty normal. The new engine mount is working very well on the driver's side. There's no more problems with the engine shifting or twisting or jumping when I press the gas. The new shock absorbers in the front, the Bilsteins, are really good. The car wobbles a lot less along the road. I'm hoping the new shock absorbers will help with the cupping on the tires. The front tires have cupping. There's scalloping that I noticed, mostly scalloping, so I want to make sure that stuff disappears. But that's about it for a $500 car. This has been quite a journey, and the car has probably eaten up about $5,000 of money between repairs, the cost of insurance, the cost of the car itself. Probably about $5,000. Hopefully no more than that. So I know that when I rented a car in Los Angeles last year, I think I was paying like about $768 to Enterprise rental car for a vehicle for about 2 weeks. That was about $1,400. I did the calculations of this car, having it 5 months and spending about $5,000 on it. I think it comes out to about $1,100 now a month that I've spent in this car, if you look at it at rental cost terms, and it's probably about $39 a day. What I've spent on this car now, when I consider the price I bought it for, the repairs. I'm not counting the gas. So this thing is equivalent to driving a $39 rental car a day, and that includes taxes too. So $39 per day would be the entire cost of the rental car. So if this vehicle, this ML500 can keep going without breaking down, of course the cost will go down. I'm trying to think of the things I replace in this thing to get it in shape. When I first got it, it wasn't moving very well. I had to put a bunch of transmission fluid into it. Of course the gas tank was empty. And it had no brakes hardly, so in those days I was concerned about getting the brakes working. I had to replace a brake line, which was not easy, which I hadn't done for years and years and years, probably 30 years. And let's see what else. The alternator was bad. This thing would surge, the voltage would surge, and it was undrivable. The gauges in the dash would surge. There's videos on that on YouTube with me with the bad alternator in this thing. So that's the second thing I replaced. I also replaced the brake, not booster, the master cylinder. So the master cylinder got replaced with the Dorman model. And all that was done to try and stabilize the brakes. But what was really wrong with the brakes was there was a leak in the brake line, which got worse and worse. And I finally figured out where the leak was and replaced the brake line. And then the brakes went back to normal. That took a few months of work. And then there was a push to get this car inspected. So this thing is registered in Massachusetts, and to pass mass inspection, the back wiper didn't work. That had to work, so I fixed that. The back washer, I think, worked. On the back window, all the doors have to lock and open, and my back left door did not open. So I had to replace the door mechanism in there, the latch, which was expensive to do on my own even. And let's see what else. The emergency brake, the handbrake didn't work. So the handbrake was really screwed up. The people had broken the handbrake pedal for some reason, so I had to put a whole new handbrake pedal into it. The brake shoes in the back for the brake were all worn out, so I had to put in new brake shoes back there. I had to put in new rotors back there that have the brake drum for the emergency brake on it. I also had problems with these little motion translator things that translate horizontal to vertical or pushing motion for the brake shoes to expand. Those were all bent up. I had to unbend those. The brakes took me like 2 or 3 days to fix those. And let's see what else in the brakes. There's a center adjuster under the car that will take slack out of the cable. I had to figure out how to work that. That thing actually worked fine, so it wasn't really an issue. And let's see, the back hatch on this truck never opened. So I had to fix the back hatch and get a new latch mechanism for that. And then, let's see, to pass mass inspection, the windshield was cracked. I had to get a new windshield. Luckily, insurance paid for that. The insurance companies in Massachusetts will pay for broken windshield. The new windshield, here's a crack. I think I had the windshield in the car for 1 month, and a stone hit it and cracked it, so there is an inspection sticker on it still until June of 2018 or 19, so that's good. I probably would have to put a new windshield in to get it re-inspected. I'm not sure. So as you can see, the ABS light is still on. I do want to replace the ABS light. I'm sorry, fix the ABS. Let's see, what else did I do to the car? I put back brake pads into it. That wasn't too bad. I recently put front brake pads into it. I have videos about how that happened. The front brake pad pins were frozen, so I had to saw those off, grind them off, and get those working. I also replaced the left engine mount some time ago, which didn't make much difference to the car's drivability. I replaced the right engine mount last weekend, which made a huge difference to the car's drivability. I replaced the tires, of course, for mass inspection. My tires were shot. I also had to replace the tie rod ends. So the tie rod ends in this thing were shot on both wheels. The one wheel had good tie rod ends, but you couldn't adjust them. They were frozen with the rust. And the other side, the tie rod was loose and the wheel would shimmy when you drove the car. This thing was actually pretty dangerous when I first got it, as far as it had a lot of problems. So anyway, the tie rods were also a major headache that I combated early on. And let's see, I replaced the serpentine belt, which was no big deal. Of course, I replaced the oil in the oil filter. Let's see what else was done to it. Replaced the cabin air filter for it. And there's probably other things. Oh yeah. So the transmission has a multi-connector on it, which sends all the electrical signals on how to shift into the transmission. I had to replace that plug, as my plug was leaking down there. It's a common problem with this vehicle. Replace that. I also replaced all the fluid in the differentials with Mobil 1, so the front differential, the back differential got drained and replaced. I replaced the center, it's not called a differential, a transfer case. Replaced the center transfer case with ATF, synthetic ATF, which is what will go in there, that had Mercedes-Benz blessing on it. Which brand was that? It was a fairly common brand too, that I think Frappabox on YouTube had clued me into that, so I did that. Also, let's see, changed the transmission oil. I changed that about 5 times. You can't take out much, and I couldn't get it all out, but I changed transmission fluid a few times and put a new filter in, so I feel this truck could go for a while now, hopefully without incident. Oh, another big thing was I also replaced the radiator. The radiator was suspect, and when I was trying to fix the brake lines, I accidentally leaned on a small hose on the radiator to the side of it where the headlight is, and I cracked off that hose fitting, which is like a return hose for getting bubbles out of the system. So that caused me to have to put in a whole new radiator. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff done with the car. Maybe that's all I've done to it. Maybe that's everything. I'm trying to think of other things I did to it. That's a pretty big list. So, in driving along here back to my hotel, maybe I've recanted now what has been done to this car. But I'm really happy with the steering right now. The steering is really good. I'm really happy with the brakes. I'm really happy with the engine mount. I'm happy with the fact I can put the gas on at a red light, and the car won't, the engine won't go thunk, 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 thunk. It won't shift. So it's almost like this car is a normal car now, which it never has been. I've always been driving like a work in progress around here, so that's great. And if I leave the area, I probably gotta sell this car. It's gonna be hard to sell something that I fixed for 5 months. It really killed myself working on it. It might be better to take it back to California. Take this thing to Tahoe. This thing is probably great in the snow. I may never know. All right, well, that's my recant and rendition of this vehicle, the $500 Mercedes. It still has an issue with the AC. When I turn the AC on, sometimes the vent flops around, which is a known problem in these cars. The AC itself works good. And I gotta say, the biggest pain was putting in that engine mount. That took me most of Saturday and all of Sunday to change the left driver's side engine mount. This thing, that was horrendous. However, that part I think is maybe the happiest as far as what this car drives like now. And to get it perfect, I probably got to change the bushings on the sway bar, which is what Frappabox had talked about on his, I think 320 or 500. So this thing still makes some funny noises when you over bumps here and there, and that would be nice to have that working. And my brakes aren't perfect yet. The back brakes squeak, even with new brake pads. I'm getting some squeaking, so I didn't put in that gooey stuff that makes them not squeak, so that's a problem. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day.